So, welcome to the Kick-Ass Midlife Method podcast. I'm Rachel. I'm joined by some women from the community, and we're talking about hydration in this episode, how to hydrate correctly in midlife, and how it can boost your energy and actually help you achieve your goals in terms of body composition. So, what we're going to cover, like hormonal change, why hydration becomes critical during hormonal change, like what actually happens in terms of your hydration levels when you're going through perimenopause, menopause, and out the other side, why actually some of the symptoms you might attribute to hormone change are actually probably due to dehydration in some cases, how much you really need, the link between hydration, your energy and appetite, hydration salts, which are everywhere at the moment. Like you can't open Instagram without being hit by hydration salts for perimenopause and menopause. So we'll talk about those as well. Are they worthwhile? And in what way? And then your daily strategy to ensure that you are hydrating correctly. So actually, I think it's quite interesting to think about actually how much water makes up your body. So I know that often in check-ins when you've done your weight after a weekend, many of you can be like, oh no, I've put on loads of weight again. And actually, if you've had a weekend where you've had like quite a lot of salty food or processed food or anything like that, then you can a lot of it can be retention of water as well. So water makes up nearly 75% of muscle and organs. It's important because it transports, it's not just about hydration, which affects your energy, it transports nutrients as well. So it's a really obviously important thing to make sure you get right. But actually, it's often one of those things you just forget because you're so busy thinking about protein and like getting your macros, and you forget the fundamental importance, of foundational importance of your water. So symptoms of hormone change that may actually be dehydration. Um, and the reality is there's probably a mix of both of them, but it's really important to kind of think if you're looking at feeling consistently tired, sometimes it could be hydration, nothing to do with perimenopause or menopause, brain fog, poor concentration, dry skin, dull complexion, headaches, constipation's another one, low mood, increased desire to snack or sugar. That's a big one I see often, like people wanting to like are really craving sweet things, and it can actually just be that you're really thirsty and feeling physically flat. And so I thought this statistic was really interesting. Around 2% of dehydration can start affecting your attention, your memory, and mental performance. Just 2%. So uh, I think that's a important statistic to remember. So how much do you actually need? Now, if you look into research, the guidelines like kind of do tend to vary, but a good kind of idea is 30 to 35 milliliters per kilo of body weight per day. Now that, for a 70-kilo woman, that's going to be 2 liters to 2.5 liters. Now, if you are exercising a lot, that's going to change it again. If you're in a hot environment, that's going to change things. Very high protein diets. Now, for any of you in the kick-ass community, you're not on a high protein diet. It might feel like you are because you're like, oh my God, I'm having so much protein, but you're not actually on a high protein diet. You're on a diet that is a balance, and you're on the protein that you should need for your weight. So you're not high protein. Caffeine intake, if you're constantly having caffeine, all of that, and perimenopause, postmenopause, that can also affect potentially how much hydration you need. So does that surprise anyone? 2 liters to 2.5 liters. Yeah, it surprised me actually as well. I kind of think I'm potentially not drinking enough either. But what counts as hydration? And this, I suppose, is also where some of this comes in, that you might actually be drinking or having more hydrating more than you think you are, because it's not just through water. Um, there is, that's amazing. I need my glasses from that far away now. Tea and coffee, electrolyte drinks, and also high water foods. So fruits, yogurts, soups, they've all got water in. So that's also going to affect things. Coffee and tea are mildly diuretic, so that will affect things a little bit, but not hugely. What I will say about coffee and tea, though, is if you're looking to create a deficit, then you've also got to also remember that coffee and tea are often got other things in that might add to your calorific input. So from that perspective, don't just think, well, that's great. I'm just going to drink loads of coffee to get my hydration up. Think about the impact of that as well. Alcohol is dehydrating, and then really sugary fizzy drinks as well. So think about that. Um, so chronic low-grade dehydration is related to increased fatigue. You can't function optimally when hydrated. So metabolic efficiency, higher perceived feeling of being hungry. So thirst as hunger is a massive one, and poorer cognitive function. So again, I mean, I use this example quite a lot about when I'm doing ultra running, and I can feel quite confused. And then the minute I have like water or a bit of food, that can change things. So when we're busy working, it can feel like an ultra marathon too, when we're sitting at our desks sometimes. And so it can be very easy to forget that you've not drunk. So um, thinking about that. So I think, Wendy, you had a question about this for me this week, about why when drinking does matter. So I always say to all of you to have a glass of water. It doesn't matter how big or how small it is when you wake up. There is the fact that, it restores overnight losses, but actually I recommend it just from a psychological point of view, is that it starts reintroducing the idea that water's important, and and helps you to start that hydration journey right from the beginning. So that's why I always say, like, first thing before you have anything else. And initially, I mean, who found that hard initially? I know lots of people like initially will be like, oh, water tastes horrible because it hasn't got a taste because they're so used to highly um, things with a lot of taste. So water can be quite hard to drink at first. Before meals. So I think I'd missed this comment, but I think there's a comment in the group about not drinking before meals. Actually, if you drink water before meals, it's good because it improves you feeling fuller. So you're maybe aware that actually you're drinking first before you just start eating, and that can actually be a really good thing. Before training, same as eating, it's obviously just going to hydrate you, so you're going to be feel better performance. Mid-afternoon, I was talking today about that protein shake, but obviously my protein shake has water in it. So when I said, has that increased your energy? For me, it felt like it had. Maybe it was actually the water in the protein shake as well. And then evening, but obviously not excessive before bed. Because if any of you are post-menopause, perimenopause, I don't know about you, but the number of times I can go to the toilet at night, so I have to be a little bit careful about how much water I have. Um, and the most important thing is like drinking intentionally. So if you're having these set times, it just, like I say, structuring your meals, structuring your day, it just creates a bit more awareness around it if you're structuring it in. Because otherwise, if you're just thinking, oh, I've got to get to the end, I've not drunk enough water. If you get to the end of the day, you think I haven't drunk enough water, you're not going to want it because it's really hard to suddenly gulp down lots of water. So how does hormone change affect hydration? So it actually does. Estrogen helps regulate fluid balance. So it is going to affect how your body retains sodium and how thirsty you feel. So thirst signaling becomes weaker. Cells don't regulate water as well, so you can be mildly dehydrated without realizing it. And on the flip side, progesterone naturally acts like a mild diuretic. So high progesterone phases, and it will really fluctuate if you're in perimenopause. It'll be up and down, can cause increased fluid loss. You can feel puffier, but still be dehydrated. And you can feel bloated, but still underhydrated. So that there is some changes that happen. So hydration salt, I mean, God, they're bloody everywhere at the moment. Um, Are they helpful or is it just all a bit of hype? So they are helpful, but only really the same as what they say for sport. It is really for long, intense training sessions. If you're a really heavy sweater, so maybe you're having very hot flushes and that's affecting you quite a lot, and you're a very heavy sweater, then maybe hot climates traveling. So some people on this call travel a lot for work. That definitely you probably is useful for things like if you're flying backwards and forwards, that would be quite good. None of you should be on low carb diets if you're watching this live with me. Fasting, if you suffer from frequent headaches or dizziness, endurance events. But really, if you're sitting down most of the time for your work, you're drinking adequately, and you're eating a balanced diet, there is no need to spend money on hydration salts, despite the fact that it's being marketed at you quite heavily if you're in midlife. My caveat to that is if you find drinking water quite difficult because of the fact that it's not got much taste, then obviously if putting hydration salts in there makes you drink more water, then it can be beneficial. But be careful that you're not drinking water, putting hydration salts in every glass of water, because that's going to lead to you're going to have too much sodium in your system. So this is an example of just a simple hydration strategy, 500 milliliters on waking, mid-morning, early afternoon, and around training. And you could hide that, as I say, your early afternoon could be your protein shake. I probably put about 300 milliliters in my protein shake. Um, and just splitting it up like that could be a way. Your herbal tea. But again, remember, probably maybe about, 300 milliliters probably in your food as well. So you can kind of discount some of that if that amount seems like, oh, there will be some in food. So yeah, a very quick spin through hydration, but I think it's an important topic because it's often something we just don't think about. Obviously, in magazines over the years, it's always been a thing. Make sure you drink water. Make sure you drink the water. And now, because this whole thing has been around, having more protein, then sometimes it can pull you away from thinking, actually, remember that actually drinking water is really important and it will affect your cognitive function, it will affect your energy levels, it will affect and your energy levels affect everything. So if you're feeling tired, then you wanting to do exercise is affected. So it can affect everything. And therefore, if you've got no energy, that also then affects your ability to stay consistent to eating healthily. So it can have lots of ramifications.